This is Straight Talk with an elevated Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Welcome tonight to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, Shannon Jones, Ronald Allen, and Miss C. We want to wish you and yours a happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, as we remember that Christ is the reason for the season. And also, we want to let you know that this will be our last Straight Talk program for this year. But we'll pick back up in the first of the year. And if you'd like to be a part of our program, subscribe, like, make comments, and share. Or you can go to Miss C at Straight Talk News 1362@gmail.com. We got a new segment starting next year with Miss C. So stay tuned as we go around the world with news and information with our groups, myself, Shannon, Miss C, and Ron. And we want to again thank you for just being a participant, still watching us, sharing with us your comments and your opinion. We appreciate that. Today's program, we have some technical difficulties, so you'll see some glitches and what have you, because Shannon will not be able to come on. He'll be heard, but he won't be seen. Ron is still having difficulty with his camera, but the information that we're putting out is good information for you. We're talking about one is DA Fani Willis, who stood before the Senate committee to chastise her, I guess, about her indiscretion and her office as a DA. Well, we want to commend her for standing up and taking up a strong position. We have to, and we're talking about electing black individuals, black people in a political office, and not actually carrying out the agenda to look out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. We're also sharing the issue of why do we have so many people that just got in office that now want to run for another higher office when they've done virtually nothing in the office that they're in now. So we're going to be talking about many, many things. We want you to stick with us. If you agree with us, fine. If you don't agree with us, let us know why you don't agree with us. We'd love to hear from you. That's Straight Talk News at 1362@gmail.com. You can write us with your comments. Miss C will let us know. And you have a happy holiday. And then we're going to have Miss C. Miss C is going to come with her news and information. Miss C, Mrs. C.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast, or more or less. Hope you're enjoying this holiday season, and I wish you all the best in the coming year. All right. J. Beck Vibes and WYZE Radio presents Friday Night Live 2026 on January 16th at 7:30 p.m., featuring the spiritual heirs of Covington, Georgia, the Dynamic Gospel Flames, with special guests George Dean and the Gospel Four. It will be hosted by Deborah Murray and J. Beck at Shield of Faith Christian Center, 916 Harlan Avenue in Griffin, Georgia. Elder Luther Beckett invites everyone to help him celebrate his big 70th birthday celebration, January 17th, 5 p.m. at Faith Memorial Church, 1676 Old Rex Morrow Road in Morrow, Georgia. Guests include Ruth and the Girls, The Anointed Believers, Drill and Disdain, Mary Fields, and J. Beck and God's Foundation. My former co-worker and good friend Elder Ray Neal, or Bishop Ray Neal, is the pastor there. Now listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do before we leave. I'd like for you to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us, and those little buttons will appear right there on the front of the screen. And I'd like for you to let everybody know, share us, let everybody know what you know. And that's that we are Straight Talk News. And also leave comments. I probably got it out of order, but anyway, you know what to do, okay? And listen, if you'd like for us to announce your event, just email it to me at straighttalknews 1362 at gmail.com. That's Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. And we'll be happy to get it on for you. Okay? And listen, be kind, be nice, do something good for somebody today, and you'll be glad you did. Okay? Bye now.
Well, welcome tonight with Straight Talk with your to the great fan, the preacher man, Ronald Allen. Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Bishop, we're doing great, man. It's a great time of the year. Holidays coming up. Let's enjoy ourselves.
Oh, we're going to enjoy ourselves, man. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to have a great time. Thank God. Jesus is the reason for the season. If people would focus more on Jesus Christ as opposed to, where we're going to have our holiday party at, where we're going to sit down and eat and fellowship, what we're going to do, satisfy the flesh and do those fleshly things. I was talking to the membership the other night and Bible study, and I was saying, it's a shame that how we celebrate our birthdays and want everybody to come and celebrate us for our birthday and have a sweet 16 party for the kids, the girls, and all this other stuff that we do, right? Satisfy the flesh. But when we come to Jesus' birthday, his birthday, the man who came into the world to die for our sins, to give us the right for eternal life, when it comes to his birthday, Ron, we got everything else to do but go by and celebrate with him and have a celebration in the house of the Lord to celebrate his birthday, for him coming into the world to die for our sins. Now, on the contrast of that, on the flip side of that, when it comes to Easter, we got to buy all these nice Easter outfits and all this stuff. Well, they don't do it as much as they used to do it. But, however, we can come to church on Easter and just celebrate his death, but we don't celebrate his life like we do his death. Had he not come into the world to die for our sins, then why are we celebrating the death and not the life? Do we celebrate the death, not the life? Now, in life, don't we celebrate life more than death? Is death celebrated like life for us?
Well, Jesus is one of those mythical figures where we pick and choose how we honor, as opposed with ourselves. We're us every day. So we gonna take the total of ourselves. But for Jesus, it's so easy to say, well, I can honor his death on Easter, but Christmas, that's for my kids, my spouse, the fam, the office part. That's how it is, Bishop. It's pick and choose. This the pick and choose nation. America, the pick and choose nation.
Hey, Ron, you got a delay. You got a delay tonight. I mean, but Ron, I'm telling you the truth. When you say stuff, you be right on point, because that's what we're doing. We're picking and we're choosing. We're picking to celebrate Jesus on his birthday by celebrating ourselves and making ourselves feel good about ourselves and the things that we're doing for our children and our grandchildren and ourselves. But we don't take the time to thank God for coming into the world to die for our sins. Oh man, we got it twisted. We really got it twisted. But Ron, with that being said, I want to just talk a little bit about, as we talk about Jesus Christ and we talk about this world, the nation, and the wickedness of this political system that we're in, the wickedness of this political system that we're in, the oppression that has been taking place from the beginning of time when Saul became the first king, and how wicked people became, and how the king oppressed the people, and how we still being oppressed today, still being oppressed today. And the night I was on the reparation committee for Fulton County, Brother Rodney Little brought a very good point, Ron, and I've heard you say this before too. When we talk about reparations for us and our past, what happened in the past, what about what's going on now? I mean, what about what's happening right now in terms of how we are being treated right now? So what is the compensation for the right now mistreatment and the policies, the public policies that are being created, that's creating this same type oppression. It's the same thing. It's a new way of them doing it, but it's the same thing. They did it through public policy then, and they're doing it through public policy now.
Bishop, is so embarrassing. And I wish I was off this delay because I want people to see this in real time. For black workers, if you're a black male worker, you make 87% of what white male workers make. If you're a black woman, you make it 69%. We're walking coupons, Bishop. Like while we celebrate integration and we celebrate going this and that in the corporate world, this and that in Hollywood, this and that in sports, whatever you making as a black worker, you need to add 15 or 20% to that to understand what your true market value is. So we deserve reparations on this racial apartheid economic system that devalues black labor to this very day. So we still see home ownership rate in the black community 10 years behind what it is in the white community. So that's 10 years of equity that black homeowners lose in terms of the average age and build up in equity and wealth and home ownership of white peers. The system is so fraudulent in terms of being a racial hierarchy and a racial caste system in America. And we always want to limit reparations to enslavement, even though after enslavement you have 100 years of sharecropping, of debt peonage, and slanted economic systems that consistently put you have black codes, the black tax, black people paying more in rent to live in substandard conditions when we began the Great Migration into urban environments like Chicago, St. Louis, New York, LA. So we have been marginalized to the degree that reparation is a conversation that needs to extend to this very day, Bishop.
Well, Ron, I mean that's what Rodney said today, and I think there's several different books. This is a book that was written by Reverend S. Bronner. Reverend Bronner writes on the deconstruction of fascism and and the victorious story about racism. So I mean, we have to understand that this is alive and well, and we are being disadvantaged, mistreated, and we're in a different category. And I was looking at the Senate hearing on Fani Willis yesterday. It's on YouTube, and if you hadn't looked at it,
I saw it, Bishop.
And I see that people may say, well, she shouldn't have did it, she shouldn't have did that, she should, and all the things about who her lover was or who she was dating and all of that. It's totally insignificant when you look at them, and you got pedophiles. You got the pedophiles that are the Epstein file that won't be opened up and all those other things. But then you want to cast aside us. We do this to ourselves sometimes by looking at us and pointing a finger at us in terms she shouldn't have did it. But they did it and they're doing it. So, well, we can't do what they do. But the reality of it is that's a two system. It is still white superiority over blacks. And others.
Bishop,
let's just be clear.
That's another point of reparation. While Fani Willis had a completely legitimate and consensual adult relationship, that the politics of that relationship plays against her. The current president openly idolizes his daughter in full view of the public and objectifies his own daughter over and over again. And also a man who is associated with the world's largest pedophilia ring, organized not only politically position, religious leaders, educational leaders, political leaders, banking leaders, philosophical leaders, the entire encapsulation of intelligentsia, of finance, of government was in this man's Rolodex, and he's a pedophile. So the whole system is corrupt. The whole system is a cesspool, and they all know about it, Bishop. That's the other thing we, as regular Americans, need to understand. This is intentional. They know each other. They organize with each other to continue to perpetuate their fraud against us, and then make us pay the man.
Shannon, so, you upside.
Hold we got it.
Run home for just let me hold the point. Shannon, you're upside down. You need to turn yourself around because you're upside down.
I'm upside down, bitch.
No, Shannon is upside down.
Okay.
He's upside down. He's coming on, but he's upside down. I don't want him to come on being upside down. Go on, Ron.
Right. When we take the honesty approach and talk about what we're getting in return for these governments are organized cartels. We see the United States government hijacking oil tankers in Venezuela when the president, the leader of our publicly funded cartel, is being asked by the media, what are you going to do with the oil that you illegally seized? And the president said, in all comical seriousness, I guess we keep it. We gonna keep it. Because we out here mobbing, Bishop. We out here thugging now. It's so, when the political leadership at the top is this corrupt, and we find every reason to justify it, but then put African Americans under the microscope, particularly when we make our claim of reparations, when we make our claim of unjust treatment from the federal government, from state governments, from banks and corporations, then people become ultra critical all of a sudden of the African American position. So this is the hypocrisy, the double standard, or the double consciousness, to use a phrase from W.B. Du Bois, quite possibly the greatest black educator in the history of the United States.
Well, I think one is, and I don't think it, I know, because when I look at my generation and I look at the generation that's coming up now that think that they're being liberated and that they're free and that they're not being oppressed. But when you have how many kids have graduated, was led to go to college, they get a degree, that they were going to get these fantastic jobs, and now they got all of these student loans and all this other thing, and they can't afford to pay. They can't afford to pay. And one of the things we have to thank Biden for, Biden was helping people pay those student loans. So I mean, I'm just being realistic and practical about who is looking out for the least, the lost, and the left out. Who is doing that for people who are still marginalized, people who are still being mistreated. The prison system is still holding more black men and black women than as they did when you had the chattel system, right? They're still doing the same thing. It's not changed. I mean, think about it. We don't have drugs. We don't raise drugs. But yet they're locking up young people up for selling drugs. Where they getting the drugs from?
Exactly.
You're creating these criminal elements so you'll be able to do that. Shannon is still upside down. Shannon, you're still upside down. I don't know what's wrong with your camera, but you're still upside down. Now I can bring you in upside down if you want me to, but you're upside down.
Oh, no.
There you go. Now you're right side up. Lord have mercy. Let's bring Shannon on in here. But then you don't went upside down again. What you keep doing? You're upside down.
That's on Bishop. That's you. My camera.
No, it ain't me. It ain't me. It's you. Because you was what I say. No,
I don't know.
I don't know. Your camera's upside down. Turn your camera around. It had it right for 1 minute and then it went the wrong way. Try to do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some technical difficulty here bringing on the star of the show, Shannon E. Jones. But we got to get him on in just a minute. Shannon, if you can turn your camera around a little bit. See when you turn it around, see if you turn the camera around. Because it's just not working. It's just not working. It's upside down. Now, if I showed you what you look like, I wouldn't want to embarrass you to the viewing public. Because you are upside down. Ron is delayed and you upside down. It's what's going on with Straight Talk tonight.
Right. What's going on tonight? You're right. Just in time for the holidays.
Just in time for the holidays. But listen, I do want us to stay on this subject because as we're looking at this and looking at what's happening and how we're doing it ourselves. Now I'm going to my pet peeve. This is my pet peeve. This is my pet peeve. We have all of these black people running for office, and black people support black people to run for office and get in office. But when they get in office, many of them, before they get in office good and the seat get warm, they're ready to run for a high office when they haven't done anything to help our agenda in terms of moving us together by putting together good public policy that's going to benefit those that are marginalized, those that are still under chattel slavery in a sense, in another new sense, right? Because I guarantee you, you go to Fulton County Jail or any jail in this country, those jails are going to be filled with more people of color than any other race.
That's right. But Bishop, this is the reason why I practice Sankofa and look at the original mission that our ancestors who were displaced from the motherland, the mission that they gave us as their descendants to redeem Africa, to show the merits of our race through achievement, property ownership, marriage. When you mention Joe Biden and student loan forgiveness, the student populations that are most straddled with student loan debt are the aging millennials who are unmarried, entering their 40s, mid 40s. Home ownership may have eluded them at this point. The very fabric of these individuals taking their place in our community and replicating our way of life is being challenged by an economic system that is designed to choke our young people into oblivion. And the adults, so-called, in the room in Congress and in state government who mandated and legalized this form of post-secondary education are taking their cuts off the backs of American citizens between the ages of 30 and 55. So this nation has made a war on working class and middle class people to give obscene tax cuts to the top 1%, to further incentivize businesses to take up land and use land without paying taxes, as you mentioned last week, but yet they tax the employees of these companies that gets tax write-offs to make up the deficit. So the government spends public money to support billionaires and at the same time charges those billionaires zero money for the land that they use, for the resources they exhaust, and for the wear and tear that our employment and maintenance of their corporations put on our bodies. Americans are working more. Americans typically have the most unused vacation and leisure time than any industrialized nation in the world. Bishop, we have been given a raw deal. And because the most of the world itself is in abject poverty, abject corruption, like we see throughout 2/3 of Africa, Southeast Asia, South America, because that international poverty is in the back of our minds that is the alternative to this fraudulent system. The fear of sliding that far down is what's keeping our mouths shut while we overpay the top 1% to get meager services, unnutritious food, faulty utilities that are cost. Think about what it's going to cost us to heat our homes this winter, Bishop. Everything is going up, but wages.
Well, Donald Trump said last night in his speech of all the stuff that he lowered down the prices and everything, and everybody like, really? I mean, really? Shannon, if you want to say something, Shannon, you can chime in. I just can't show you because I tried to show you, and all I'm getting is your eyes and not the rest of your body. Just eyes. If you want to say something, you got the mic.
I'm actually listening because I had some connection. I kind of I'm listening, trying to see what.
Well, I think one is that and of course you're the president of CBC, and you talked about a black agenda and what that black agenda ought to look like, and overall in terms of how we as a people are still marginalized. We are outcasts. We're used, and we are trumped down. I know some will say, "Oh no, we will be liberated. We free. We can do this and we can do that." Well, all those things that people think that we can do, you go outside Atlanta, Georgia, and you'll find out how free you are. You go down to Ben Hill County. You go down to Perry County. You go down to Housing County. You go down up north in Cherokee County and some of these other counties, and you'll find out what your freedom is and how free you are. So you'll understand that you're not as free as you think you are. And then those opportunities that you have in the metro Atlanta area is not as great as they are in other areas in Georgia. And I'm just talking about Georgia because we're in Georgia, but I'm sure the same thing is in other states too. So when we talk about reparation, in terms of us being equal. We said we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. That is the liberty and justice for all. Where is the liberty and justice for all? Where is the liberty and the justice for all? When you can pick people up from the street and you can deport them and they don't even have due process. You don't know if they're African Americans. You don't know if they're citizens or real citizens. You just snatch them off the street and put them to other countries. I mean, really? That is a form of oppression. And when we talk about that's how we got over here, they brought us over here from our forefathers over here from Africa. And they're sending people now to other nations that ain't even their own country. I mean, so we just have to be real about what we're seeing. And we have to be serious about when we talk about reparation. We need reparation now for what's going on now, the injustice that's being perpetrated upon the people now. Yes, those people who did those things during those days and how wealthy people became by it, but they doing the same thing. They still coming with it. Ron just said that 1% is still being where the plantation owner is still yet profit and off of the backs of people, black people, and marginalized people. Still private.
So I'm a Baptist Christian that grabs very much. I have national citizenship. So I hear this. I'm wondering how long.
You went off.
Yeah, he disappeared.
We can't. You disappeared. We can't even hear you. Hold on for a minute. Hold for a minute, Sean. Hold for a minute.
Because now you can't see me.
No, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. We can hear you now. We can hear you loud and clear.
So I want Malcolm Muhammad and Noble Drew Ali into this conversation. And the question becomes, the debt is owed us. I'm not negating it. But as a entrepreneur with my people on the south side, brothers and sisters I'm talking to, I'm trying to get them to do this. Because what's owed to us, I don't have any sense that any benevolence is going on. I think we have to be willing. And if we're not willing, and so I just want to now we're on this Garvey was the conversation. We would not negate the fact that white racism and white supremacy has done to us what it's done. They would not negate the fact that, I think did you lose me again?
No, we hear you. We hear you.
Because I was hearing feedback, I don't anymore. They would not negate the fact that the reparations are owed to us. But the question becomes, what are we willing to do for self? 500,000 black folk did not vote in Atlanta, Georgia, which gave us a Donald Trump. I know that they threw folks off the voter roll. I know that they playing all kind of games. But this white man ain't changed since the day we met him. I mean, he doesn't have any new tricks. The question becomes, as a community, what are we willing to do for self? To be able to empower ourselves and to empower our children and to empower our future. I heard you say that to Concerned Black Clergy a few weeks ago. Bishop, you said ain't nobody coming for us. And they should be, because we built the country. It's owed to us. But the question the answer that I think Malcolm would say tonight, and what Garvey would say tonight, and in the real sense, Booker T would say tonight, we need to cast our buckets. We need to connect with one another. We need to do for self. I like what Reverend Leon Sullivan, the founder of OIC Philadelphia, said. He said that integration without preparation is frustration. Well, I want to help him with that, because I think that when we took this notion of integration, we did away with really the foundation of our community. We did away with black banking. We did away with our with black political. We gave away. It came at too high a cost, and I think that's what Dr. King meant when he said that I fear that I'm integrating my people into a burning house. I have the sense of that. And again, they're not. I can go in their communities and see what they own and see how their cultures continue. So that's what I want to say, and you know, that's what I have to say to that. It's owed to us, but let's do for self. I can't hear.
Yeah, Shannon touches on the. Yeah, Shannon is touching on the real key point for the black community and the action point that we need to be very serious about for the next 2 or 3 generations. Desegregation did come at a cost. It cost us the foundation of self, of group economics. in Guza Saba, the seven principles of Kwanzaa, group economics is essential to our understanding of who we are as African Americans. And as I have critiqued that African Americans exist in a weird political space where our self determination and our self reliance is looked upon very critically by our own ally. That the foundation of the American system of multiculturalism largely has black people positioned as the hapless consumer, that we are vying our capital with other groups for their issues, be it what's happening, unfortunately, with the rise of anti Semitism, or even how many groups are asking for coalition support against ICE and the deportation effort against Hispanics, and all those are worthy causes that black community should support and be in favor of. But again, it needs to be mentioned very clearly. The black community has voted 85% Democratic. We voted against the Trump regime in three successive elections. For the few black people who refused to vote in the last election, whether that's from apathy, from Democrats laying down on their backs, belly up like some weak and battered, thrown away garbage, that frustration can be understood from African Americans who are tired of bearing the liberal burden of all these other racial and income groups that refuse to declare for the multicultural campaign. Hispanics, Asians, and Pacific Islanders, white women, college educated Americans, all these groups are nearly split 50-50 down the middle between the Democratic Party and the authoritarianism of the GOP. So, yes, it is convenient to argue that the few black voters who were eligible and did not vote maybe somehow ushered in this era of Trumpism, but I think most of the blame needs to be put on white women and other minority groups that voted at 45, 50, and 55% clips for Donald Trump. Like I said, if we voted 85% against Trump, why should we, as the black community, take any blame for the direction this country is going?
So I think what you're saying is that there are other ethnic groups, such as the Hispanic group, who voted resoundingly for him. So, but they really voted for him. But now they're being deported. So I mean, so there are other groups that voted for him that are being disenfranchised because they fell for the okie-doke. I put it like that. They fell for the okie-doke. And so the problem for us, and Shannon said it best, that I say this, and I say it all the time, nobody coming for us but us. We can't depend on nobody but us. Just like you talk about Sankofa, you talk about our heritage, we depended on each other. We had neighborhoods and communities where we worked together, and we depended on each other. And nobody went out in the community because everybody looked out for people in the community. They did. They looked out for the kids. They looked out for each other. That's when we were a community where we looked out for one another. Until we come back to an understanding that the black church is the heart of the black community. It is the heart. It was the heart of the black community then. It's the heart of the black community now. And it's going to continue to be the heart of the black community as long as we realize that our mission is that we're looking out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. And we're fighting against those, helping those people that are being marginalized. See, people knocking on our doors today, Shannon, they're like the CBC, people knocking on the doors today of the church asking, are y'all paying anybody's rent? Are y'all doing this? Are you all doing that? The church has not been established to pay rent. The church has not been established to do these things. We too busy struggling trying to keep the doors of the church open because people don't pay into the church or feed into the church. But then you got people coming to the church with these needs, and we can't meet the needs because we don't have the resources to meet the needs because the people are not giving to the church. They're not giving to the church.
Bishop, can I?
Yes.
One quick cautionary tale I want to put, because Bishop, you are absolutely just painting the perfect picture of how we need to be supporting black institutions named our black churches. But once we integrate it and desegregate it, status replaced group economics and group solidarity. That if an individual black person was able to singularly get to the highest levels of whatever respective field they were in, whether it's politics like a Barack Obama, whether it's baseball like a Hank Aaron, or however it situated itself, that status achievement replaced the group success, the group solidarity. And so when you mention black politicians getting in an office and then immediately running for a higher office instead of creating a foundation and a machine at that office that they've been elected at, so they can establish something for the people, for the group, this individual status chase that we over celebrate, Bishop. We always somewhere publishing some first black person to walk left-handed with an egg spoon at some European competition, or some black person who's the first ever to be a chair at a Fortune 500 company. This first black person syndrome has totally defeated any group impetus and emphasis that our politics, economics, and religion used to have. All black people out looking for themselves, trying to increase their own personal status, and use your increased status as a surrogate for your group solidarity. And that must end.
All right, and you coming in loud and clear at the same time you're talking now. Now, Shannon, you want to make a comment about that before we close out? Hold on for me, Shannon. Let me mic you back up because I got your mic off because I was getting some feedback from your mic when you were talking earlier. Just give me 1 second to get your mic back on, and then we want to hear from you, and then we're going to close out after we hear from the star of our show, Straight Talk, Shannon E. Jones. And Shannon, you should be mic'd up. Say something, Shannon. Is he there? Shannon, are you there? Okay, let's see. He may be gone. Shannon may be gone. I don't see him. I don't hear him, and I don't see him. We're having technical difficulties tonight. But listen, we're going to get ready.
Yeah, bear with us people today.
Just bear with us. We've been having some technical difficulties today. The internet is not working like it ought to be working and everything. And
maybe it's because we on an off day. We on a Thursday, Bishop.
So can you hear me? I'm here.
I hear you now. Yeah, I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
All right. What I was trying to say was this. I'm looking at 5 battlegrounds. Okay? And I know that other groups, other ethnic groups are doing, but I'm concerned about us. Okay, Trump won Wisconsin by 23,000 votes. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 93,000 blacks didn't vote. Trump won Florida by 113,000 votes. In Miami, 379,000 blacks didn't vote. In Michigan, Trump won by 11,000 votes. in Detroit, Michigan.
Shannon, I don't know what's happening tonight. I guess I guess what he was saying was so profound. They cut him off. But it wasn't me that cut you off.
That's how they right. That's how they do.
They cut you off. But let me just say this to you. This is gonna be more and more. And you want to be a part of Straight Talk? We love to have you as a part of Straight Talk and to share. Shannon, you want to? Let's see. Can you come back on? I see you moving here. You want to say something? You want to finish? Oh, we couldn't hear you. You were cut off. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and end the program tonight. We're on an off night because we usually tape on Fridays. And we're taping tonight. Tonight is Thursday. And we want to wish you and yours a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday. But remember, Jesus is the reason for the season, y'all. Remember, Jesus is the reason for the season. He came into the world to die for our sins. We're ministers. We love Jesus. Truly, we love Jesus. We love liberation. We love what Jesus did. He was a great liberator. He liberated his people from sin and death. But the wages of sin is death. And if we do not do what Jesus told us to do, to look out for the least, the less, the lost, and those who are left out, those who are born to lie, he said we were going to hell. I'm not trying to get to hell. There's enough hell we're catching right here. This ain't been nothing but Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fan, the preacher man, Shannon E. Jones. And Shannon will be back with us next week. And hopefully we can see him and Ron Allen and Miss C. Until next week, stay tuned to Straight Talk around the world with news and information. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, like us, make comments, and share. If you want to be a part, just send it to Miss C. Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. God bless, and this ain't been nothing but what? Straight.